Have you heard about vertical farming, vertical agriculture or indoor farming? You haven't? That's cool, because until about 2 months ago I didn't either. But could this way of growing food in and around cities where most people live, in a way that is immune to climate, including rain, floods and droughts, in a way that is immune to seasons, pests, plant diseases and weeds, in a way that is immune to labor shortages, political disputes, international disputes and pandemics? Could this way of growing food in a completely controlled environment be a blueprint for feeding people on our climate change and climate challenge planet? Well, that's what we'll look at in this video. Hi, I'm Jan from sustainablebutterflies.com.au. On the screen you see my 5 pillars of sustainability, and the content of this video is related to the greenery pillar. Although the global population growth rate has been declining since mid-1960s, we are still expected to add 2 more billion people by mid-century. At the same time, the developing countries, right, by definition developing, meaning they will not be developing forever, they are moving from not developed through developing to being developed, right? Meaning they are industrializing, they're getting wealthier, and their citizens are getting wealthier, right? Whether it's in China, Indonesia, India or Nigeria. And that means that they are eating less rice and more steaks. They're driving SUVs instead of just riding bicycles. And they're flying all over the world instead of just staying at home for holidays. And they are swimming in their own swimming pool in their backyard instead of just in the river. No one can blame them. They are following the benchmark that was set by the Americans, Australians and Europeans. And they're doing it in hundreds of millions. But what does it mean for our finite planet with finite resources? Is the planet going to be expanding in proportion to people's whims and in proportion to the increasing purchasing ability? And what does it mean for remaining rainforests, coral reefs, indigenous communities and biodiverse rich habitats? Well, it means, among many other things, that we are converting remaining forests to farmland and cropland, right? To grow food that then we feed cattle, then that people eat cattle, right? Or to grow food that then we eat outright, such as plants, right? Now, when we do that, we are losing that habitat and biodiversity with that, so that's one environmental destruction, but then we are introducing pesticides, fungicides and herbicides. We are introducing machinery and infrastructure into these areas. It's highly water intensive, global agriculture, and it's also releasing greenhouse gases. Global agriculture is responsible for about 20% of global greenhouse gas emissions. But obviously we have to grow food somewhere, right, for people. So let's look at these large-scale indoor vertical farms. What are they? And can they feed enough people so that we can leave these remaining forests in peace? Well, right off the bat, we see that these large-scale indoor farms are not outdoor miles and miles of fields of corn, wheat or rice being harvested and sprayed by giant machines. Well, that's obvious. But they are not giant glass houses or these massive plastic greenhouses like those they have in Spain either. Well, these are quite unique and completely different farming systems, I would call them, right? Completely self-contained. They don't depend on external conditions. They are lit by LED lights and watered by a solution of nutrients and water, right? They're typically a converted shipping container or a warehouse that has racks of these sheets of plants on top of each other, like a giant wardrobe with drawers inside. Typically located in industrial and post-industrial suburbs of cities, these indoor farms are able to produce food 24/7, 365 days a year, and, very importantly, close to where people live. Because in developed countries, we have high urbanization rate. In Australia, it's more than 90%, US and Canada is more than 80%. Now, these indoor farmers don't have to worry about the soil type, about water, is it gonna rain or not, about drought, about floods, about weeds, about pests and plant diseases, about labor shortages, about international disputes, about pandemics, about political problems, right? About long-haul transporting and warehousing. Environmentally speaking, these farms don't require land, right? Because they are already in suburbs of cities, right? They grow in a warehouse or shipping container. So that's one benefit. The second benefit is because they are vertical, they are racks stuck on top of each other, the footprint, for example, of a 100 square meter warehouse, if you have 10 racks of that footprint, that's 10 times 100, which is 1 square kilometer. If you have 20 racks on 100 square meters, that's 2 square kilometers, that would otherwise have to be somewhere out anywhere in nature, that would have to be converted, say, from deforested forest, converted into agriculture. Plus all the chemicals, plus all the distribution, transport, water usage, etc., which is the biggest environmental benefit of these indoor vertical farms. Because these large-scale indoor farms are largely automated, that brings labor costs down, which makes it attractive for farmers, right? That's one benefit. The second benefit is it frees up people from doing menial, physical, and potentially hazardous work. Global agriculture is responsible for about 1/5 of global greenhouse gas emissions, planet warming emissions, and is highly water intensive, let alone the whole chemicals and conversion of land and all of that stuff that we've already covered. Now, on the other hand, these large-scale indoor farms, if they're powered by renewable energy and provided that they have LED lights, they are quite low carbon, which is good for the environment, but also they use 90% less water than conventional agriculture. Well, if you're wondering about where I'm getting all these numbers and these claims about efficiency, well, I've done my research and I'm gonna give you one example and I can back it up. The numbers and stuff I got from this article from the Ag Journal, which is an August edition. It's a shorthand for Agricultural Journal. And in there was one article called Stacks On about vertical farming all over the world and in Australia. So the one I'm gonna give you few stats here is that this company in Sydney called Sprout Stack, I tried to get there and do a video there because it would be awesome to actually do it in a vertical farm, but it didn't work out. It doesn't matter. You see the photos, you get the idea. But this company, Sprout Stack, they are able to produce 600 kg of green leafy veggies each week on a footprint of 800 square meters. Wow, that's impressive. But also, they are able to supply supermarkets and restaurants within 16 hours from harvest, which is impressive. Okay, so far I kind of outlined the benefits and it looks rosy and amazing and exciting. And okay, I get it. I am also love this way of farming and it's amazing. However, there are some disadvantages and it's not a silver bullet, because you need a lot of money to actually start these indoor farms. You need to convert that shipping container or the warehouse. You need all this sophisticated piping and electricals and that cabling and then automation, right? It costs a lot of money. You need skilled people. You might need fewer people, but those few people that you need, they need to be technically advanced. They need to be able to operate all of this machinery, as well as they need to understand the plants and harvest times and nutrition solutions and plant diseases and all of that stuff, right? So that's one disadvantage. The other disadvantage is that the cost of output from the consumer point of view, right now, well, that's also mentioned in the article, the cost of a lettuce is about $5 or $6 that's grown in these vertical farms, whereas from normal farms outside in the fields it's $2 in Australia, because in Australia we have abundant land relative to population, unlike in Singapore or Hong Kong or Taiwan. Right? So that's the second disadvantage. And the third disadvantage is that, yes, this is exciting and this is amazing and it's very efficient, but, and it's again mentioned in the article, this is not a solution to the way of feeding the world. No, it's not an either or. However, there is potential with already high urbanization rate and technological advances. This is more about growing more and more food like this in these large-scale indoor farms, and less food, less rely on conventional agriculture. Because relying on conventional agriculture, we will probably lose all the rainforests there are, which is my big fear. Okay, what do you think about large-scale indoor farms? Do you think it's just a fad for the rich and it doesn't really do anything? It's just kind of wanky, fancy thing, you know, for the city dwellers, and it's not about the people in the country? What do you think? Well, I love it, and I think this is fantastic, and as soon as I get the opportunity, I will be checking this vertical indoor farm myself. Now, on a similar note, I'd like to invite you to my brand new online Sustainable Horticulture course. It's called the JUNGLEFIER, and it's mainly for people who work in the education and care sector, such as educators, teachers, and school principals and operations managers, but it's also relevant for parents or sustainability enthusiasts and horticulturists, right? It allows you to green up your service, home or school safely, sustainably, and on budget. There is a link in the video description, and I'll see you there. Have a great day. Bye.